I was at a restaurant with my son and daughter-in-law. When they went to pay, a strange woman left a red box on our table and said, "You'll need this tonight." At home, my hands shook as I opened it. What I found inside didn't just break my heart. It destroyed everything I thought I knew about my family. If you want to know what was in that box and how it tore my family apart, hit that like button right now and subscribe to this channel. Because this story has twists you will never see coming. My name is Linda Morrison. I'm 58 years old, a widow, a mother. And until 3 months ago, I thought my son had the perfect marriage. I was wrong about so many things. It started on a Tuesday evening in late September. Nothing special about the day. Just a regular family dinner that I'd been looking forward to all week. My son Michael had called me that morning. "Mom, Amanda and I want to take you out to dinner tonight. That new Italian place downtown. Our treat. Can you make it?" Of course I could make it. I always made time for my son. Michael was my only child. My everything. Especially after his father died 5 years ago from a sudden heart attack. Michael was 32. Handsome, successful software engineer. Made good money. Owned a beautiful house in the suburbs. And he'd been married to Amanda for almost 4 years. Amanda. My daughter-in-law. 29 years old. Petite. Dark hair. Always perfectly dressed. Always said the right things. Always smiled at the right moments. I'll be honest. I never felt completely comfortable around Amanda. There was something about her that seemed too perfect, too rehearsed, like she was always performing rather than just being. But Michael loved her, absolutely adored her, and she seemed to make him happy. So I kept my doubts to myself, told myself I was just being an overprotective mother, that no woman would ever be good enough for my son in my eyes. The restaurant was called Bella Nota. Upscale but not pretentious. White tablecloths, soft lighting, Italian music playing quietly in the background. I arrived first, was seated at a table near the window. I watched people walking by outside, couples holding hands, families with children, normal life happening all around me. Michael and Amanda arrived 10 minutes later. He was wearing a button-down shirt and nice jeans. She wore a cream-colored dress that probably cost more than my monthly grocery budget. Her makeup was flawless. Her hair pulled back in an elegant bun. "Mom!" Michael hugged me tight. He always gave the best hugs. Had since he was a little boy. "Hi, sweetheart, you look good." "Thanks. You look great, too." Amanda leaned in and kissed my cheek. Her perfume was strong, expensive. "Linda, so good to see you. I love that blouse on you." "Thank you, dear." We sat down, ordered drinks, wine for them, water for me. I didn't drink much anymore. Made me tired. The conversation was pleasant, surface level. Michael talked about a project at work. Amanda talked about redecorating their living room. I talked about my book club and the garden I was planting. Normal, comfortable, safe. Michael excused himself to use the restroom about halfway through dinner. Amanda smiled at me across the table. "Linda, I'm so glad we could do this tonight. Michael's been so stressed with work lately. I think he really needed this. He does work too hard, always has. Even as a child, he pushed himself. He gets that from you. You're one of the strongest women I know." It was a nice thing to say, but it felt scripted, like she'd practiced it. Michael came back. We ordered dessert, tiramisu to share. It was delicious. Around 8:30, Michael signaled for the check. "I've got this, Mom. Our treat, remember?" "You don't have to." "I want to. You've done so much for me my whole life. Let me do this." He and Amanda got up to go pay at the front. I stayed at the table, finishing my water. That's when she appeared. A woman I'd never seen before. Mid-40s maybe. Blonde hair that needed a trim. Tired eyes. Wearing jeans and a plain gray sweater. She looked out of place in this upscale restaurant. She walked directly to our table, didn't say hello, didn't introduce herself, just placed a red box on the table in front of me. It was about the size of a shoebox, wrapped in plain red paper. No bow, no card, no decoration. "You'll need this tonight," she said. Her voice was flat, emotionless. I looked up at her, confused. "I'm sorry, what?" "The box. Open it when you get home. You'll need what's inside." "I don't understand. Who are you?" She glanced toward the front of the restaurant where Michael and Amanda were paying. Her expression hardened. "Someone who knows the truth. Someone who's tired of watching people live lies." Before I could respond, she turned and walked away, disappeared into the crowded restaurant and was gone. I sat there staring at the red box. My heart was beating faster. Something about the woman's tone, the way she'd looked at me. It felt ominous. Michael and Amanda came back to the table. Michael noticed the box immediately. "What's that?" I don't know. A woman just put it here. Said I'd need it tonight." Amanda's face changed. Just for a second. A flash of something. Fear? Recognition. But it was gone so quickly I wasn't sure I'd really seen it. "A woman? What woman?" Michael looked around the restaurant. "I don't know. I'd never seen her before. She just walked up, put this down, and left." "That's weird." Michael picked up the box, shook it gently. Something shifted inside. "Should we open it?" She said to open it at home. Amanda spoke up quickly. "It's probably just some restaurant promotion thing. You know, a gift card or discount coupon. They do that sometimes to attract repeat customers." Michael looked skeptical. "By having random people deliver mysterious boxes? That doesn't make sense." "It's probably nothing." Amanda's voice was tight. "We should just go. It's getting late." Something in her tone made me want to open that box right then and there. But I didn't. I just picked it up and held it. We walked out of the restaurant together, stood in the parking lot saying our goodbyes. "Thanks for dinner, sweetheart. I had a lovely time." "Love you, Mom." Michael hugged me again. Amanda hugged me too, but her body was tense, rigid. "Drive safe, Linda." I got in my car with the red box on the passenger seat, looked at it the entire drive home. 20 minutes of wondering, worrying, trying to convince myself it was nothing. But deep down, I knew. I knew it was something. Something bad. I lived in a small house about 3 miles from Michael and Amanda's place. A 2-bedroom ranch that my husband and I had bought 30 years ago. It was too big for just me now. But it was home, full of memories. I pulled into my driveway, sat in the car for a long moment, staring at that box. The woman's words echoed in my head. "You'll need this tonight." Someone who knows the truth. Tired of watching people live lies. What truth? What lies? I finally grabbed the box and went inside. Put my purse down. Kicked off my shoes. Turned on the lights in the living room. The red box sat on my coffee table. Waiting. I sat down on the couch. Stared at it. My hands were shaking. Part of me wanted to throw it away. To not open it. To pretend it didn't exist. But I couldn't. I had to know. I picked it up, tore off the red paper. Underneath was a plain cardboard box. I lifted the lid. Inside were photographs, dozens of them. I picked up the first one. It was Amanda, my daughter-in-law. But she wasn't alone. She was with a man who wasn't my son. They were at a restaurant, sitting close together, his hand on her thigh, her hand on his chest. Both smiling, both looking very comfortable, very intimate. I felt my stomach drop. I picked up another photo. Amanda and the same man, this time in a car, kissing. Not a friendly peck, a deep, passionate kiss. Another photo. The two of them entering a hotel, his arm around her waist, her head on his shoulder. Another, leaving the same hotel. Different day, different clothes. Another, another, another. Dozens of photographs. All of Amanda. All with this man. All clearly showing an affair. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. There was more in the box. I dug deeper, found a flash drive, and a piece of paper with a note written in neat handwriting. These photos were taken over a 2-year period. The affair lasted from March 2022 until June 2024. The flash drive contains videos, text messages, and hotel receipts. Your son deserves to know the truth. The man in the photos was my brother. He died 3 months ago in a car accident. While going through his things, I found all of this. I thought about keeping it secret. But then I saw them at the restaurant tonight, saw her pretending to be a faithful wife. I couldn't stay silent anymore. I'm sorry you had to be the one to find out this way. But someone needed to know. Someone needed to tell him. I read the note 3 times, trying to process, trying to understand. Amanda had been having an affair for 2 years with a man who was now dead, and his sister had just handed me the evidence. I looked at the photos again, checked the dates printed in the corners. March 2022. That was just 6 months after Michael and Amanda got married. She'd been cheating on him almost since the beginning of their marriage. I felt rage, pure, burning rage. How could she do this to my son? How could she lie to his face every single day? I picked up the flash drive with trembling hands, went to my computer, plugged it in. There were folders, one labeled Photos, Full Collection. I opened it. Hundreds of images, not just the ones in the box, hundreds more. Amanda and this man at beaches, at parks, at restaurants, in his apartment, in hotel rooms. Some of the photos were innocent, others were not. Another folder labeled Videos. I didn't want to open it, didn't want to see. But I had to know. Had to know the full extent of what my son's wife had done. I clicked. There were 5 video files. I opened the first one. It was Amanda, in a hotel room, with the man. They were intimate. I closed it immediately, felt sick. Another folder. Text messages. Screenshots of conversations between Amanda and this man. Thousands of messages. I scrolled through them, read random excerpts. Amanda, I miss you so much. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Him, I miss you too, baby. Michael working late again? Amanda, yes, he's always working. He barely notices me anymore. Him, his loss, my gain. Amanda, I wish we didn't have to hide. I wish I could just be with you. Him, you know why we can't. Not yet. Amanda, I know. Soon though, I promise. I kept reading, message after message after message. Love messages, sexual messages, messages planning their meetings, messages talking about Michael. One particular exchange made my blood boil. Amanda, Michael wants to try for a baby. Him, what did you tell him? Amanda, I said I'm not ready yet. Truth is, I don't want to have his baby. I want to have yours. Him, you know that's complicated. Amanda, I know. But I can dream. She'd told my son she wasn't ready for children. But really, she just didn't want his children. She wanted this other man's children. I felt tears streaming down my face. How was I supposed to tell Michael this? How was I supposed to break his heart like this? There was one more folder on the flash drive. Receipts and evidence, hotel bills, restaurant bills, gifts he'd bought her, all proof of the affair, all documented, all dated. The sister had been thorough, had given me everything I needed to prove what Amanda had done. But what was I supposed to do with it? I sat at my computer until 2 a.m, going through everything, looking at every photo, reading every message, trying to find something, anything, that would make this less awful. But there was nothing. It was all exactly what it looked like. A long-term affair. 2 years of lies. 2 years of betrayal. And Michael had no idea. I finally went to bed. But I didn't sleep. Just lay there staring at the ceiling, thinking about my son, about how happy he'd seemed at dinner, about how he'd hugged me and told me he loved me. He had no idea his entire marriage was a lie. The next morning, I called in sick to work. I was a part-time receptionist at a dental office. They could manage without me for a day. I needed to figure out what to do. Needed to think clearly. Part of me wanted to call Michael immediately, to show him everything, to expose Amanda for what she was. But another part of me hesitated. This would destroy him. Absolutely devastate him. He loved Amanda so much, he'd be heartbroken. I also didn't know the full situation. Maybe there was context I was missing. Maybe there was an explanation. Although what explanation could possibly justify 2 years of cheating? I decided I needed to talk to Amanda first. Needed to confront her. Give her a chance to explain before I went to Michael. I texted her around 10 a.m. "Can you meet me for coffee today? Need to talk to you about something," she responded quickly. "Of course. Is everything okay? We'll talk in person. How about 2 p.m. at the Starbucks on Main Street? See you there." I spent the next few hours preparing, put some of the photos in an envelope, put the flash drive in my purse, rehearsed what I was going to say. At 1:45, I drove to Starbucks, got there early, ordered a coffee I knew I wouldn't drink, sat at a table in the back corner where we'd have privacy. Amanda walked in at exactly 2 p.m. She was dressed casually, jeans and a sweater, but still looked put together, still looked perfect. She smiled when she saw me, waved, ordered her usual overpriced latte, came and sat down across from me. "Hi, Linda. What's up? You sounded serious in your text." I didn't waste time with small talk. I pulled out the envelope, slid it across the table to her. "Open it." Her smile faltered. "What is this?" "Just open it." She picked up the envelope, opened it slowly, pulled out the photographs. I watched her face, watched the color drain from it, watched her hands start to shake. She looked through the photos, one by one. Her breathing became faster, shallower. Finally, she looked up at me. "Where did you get these?" "Does it matter?" "Linda, I can explain—" "Can you? Can you explain 2 years of cheating on my son? Can you explain lying to his face every single day? Can you explain telling him you weren't ready for children when really you just didn't want his children?" She flinched. "You read the messages." "I read everything. I saw everything. The photos, the videos, the texts, all of it." Tears started falling down her face, but I felt no sympathy. None at all. "Linda, please, it's not what you think." "Really?" "Because I think you've been having an affair with another man for 2 years. I think you've been betraying my son in the worst possible way. What part am I getting wrong?" She was silent, couldn't look at me. "Who was he?" I asked. "The man in the photos." "His name was David. David Chen. He was someone I knew before I met Michael." "Someone you knew? Or someone you loved?" She wiped her tears. "Both. We dated in college, broke up after graduation, lost touch. Then a few months after I married Michael, I ran into him again. We started talking, started meeting for coffee. And then it became more. More. That's one way to put it. I didn't mean for it to happen. I swear. I love Michael. I do. Don't you dare say you love him. You don't cheat on people you love for 2 years. It's complicated." "No, Amanda. It's not complicated. It's actually very simple. You're a liar and a cheater. And my son deserves so much better than you." She started crying harder. "Please don't tell him. Please. It'll destroy him." "That's not my problem. You should have thought about that before you decided to have an affair." "Linda, please. I'm begging you. David is dead. The affair is over. It's in the past. There's no reason Michael needs to know. No reason. You betrayed him for 2 years. You lied to him constantly. He has every right to know. But what good will it do? The affair is over. David died in a car accident 3 months ago. It's done. Telling Michael will only hurt him. It won't change anything. I leaned forward, lowered my voice. Let me make something very clear to you, Amanda. You don't get to decide what Michael does or doesn't know. You don't get to keep lying to him just because it's more convenient for you. I'm not trying to be convenient. I'm trying to protect him. Protect him? You destroyed him. You destroyed your marriage. You destroyed everything. People were starting to stare. I lowered my voice again. I'm going to ask you one question, and I want the truth. The actual truth for once in your life. Did you ever love my son? Or was he just convenient? Just someone stable and successful while you had your real relationship on the side? Amanda looked at me with red, swollen eyes. I did love him. I do love him. Just not the way I loved David. But there it was. The truth. She'd never really loved Michael, not the way he deserved. Does Michael know about David at all? Does he know you had a serious relationship before him? No. I told him I'd dated people, but nothing serious. More lies. Always more lies. Linda, please. Amanda reached across the table like she was going to touch my hand. I pulled back. Please don't tell him. Not right now. I need time. Time for what? She hesitated, then said something that changed everything. I'm pregnant. The world stopped. What? I'm pregnant. About 8 weeks. I just found out last week. I haven't told Michael yet. I was waiting for the right time. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. You're pregnant. Yes. Is it Michael's? She looked away. Didn't answer. Amanda? Is it Michael's baby? Her voice was barely a whisper. I don't know. Oh God, no. You don't know. You don't know if the baby you're carrying is my son's or your dead lover's. The timing. It could be either. David died 3 months ago. We were together the week before he died, and Michael and I, we were trying. He doesn't know we were trying. He thinks I went off birth control recently, but I actually stopped taking it 3 months ago. My head was spinning. You got pregnant on purpose. I wanted a baby. I wanted to save my marriage. After David died, I realized I needed to commit to Michael, really commit. A baby would do that. A baby isn't a Band-Aid, Amanda. You can't fix a broken marriage with a child. I know, but I didn't know what else to do. I was grieving. I was lost. And Michael was so good to me, so patient. I thought if I could just give him what he wanted, maybe I could learn to love him the way he deserves. I stood up. I couldn't sit there anymore. Couldn't look at her anymore. You're disgusting. You manipulated my son. You lied to him about birth control. You might be carrying another man's baby and planning to pass it off as his. You're disgusting. Linda, please. I'm telling him. Tonight. I'm telling him everything. No, please. If you tell him now, he'll leave me. He'll leave me while I'm pregnant. I'll lose everything. You should lose everything. You deserve to lose everything. She stood up too, grabbed my arm. I shook her off. Linda, if you tell him, I'll make sure he never speaks to you again. I'll tell him you're jealous of our marriage, that you've been trying to break us up from the beginning. I'll turn him against you. I looked at her with pure hatred. You can try, but I have proof. I have hundreds of photos, hours of video, thousands of text messages. You can't lie your way out of this. Then I'll leave. If you tell him, I'll leave. I'll take the baby and move away. Michael will never know his child. Is that what you want? She was threatening me. Threatening to take away my grandchild if I told the truth. I stood there in that Starbucks, realizing I was trapped. If I told Michael, Amanda would disappear with the baby. If I didn't tell him, he'd be living a lie. Raising a child that might not even be his. You're evil, I said quietly. You're truly evil. I'm desperate. There's a difference. No, there's not. I walked out of that coffee shop, got in my car, drove home in a daze. What was I supposed to do? How was I supposed to handle this? If I told Michael, I might lose access to my grandchild. Amanda would make good on her threat. I knew she would. But if I didn't tell him, I'd be complicit in her lies. I'd be helping her deceive my son. Possibly trick him into raising another man's child. I spent the rest of that day and night agonizing over the decision. Called out sick from work again the next day. Couldn't function. Couldn't think about anything else. Michael called me that afternoon. Hey Mom, just checking in. Haven't heard from you in a couple days. Everything okay? I wanted to scream. Wanted to tell him everything right then and there. But I couldn't. Not yet. I needed a plan. Needed to figure out the right way to handle this. I'm fine, sweetheart. Just been busy. How are you? Good. Actually, really good. Amanda and I have some news. No. Please no. Oh? She's pregnant, Mom. We're having a baby. He sounded so happy, so excited, so completely unaware that his entire world was built on lies. That's wonderful, sweetheart. Congratulations. I know. I'm over the moon. We just found out. We're about 8 weeks along. Baby should be here in late April. Late April. I did the math quickly in my head. That meant conception was in late July. David Chen had died in late June, which meant the baby could absolutely be his. Mom? You still there? Yes, sorry, just overwhelmed with joy. I'm so happy for you. Thanks, Mom. We're really excited. Amanda's been wanting this for a while. I'm just glad it finally happened. She'd been wanting this. What a lie. She'd been sabotaging this. Until she decided a baby was useful. When's the first ultrasound? Next week. We'll send you pictures. I can't wait. We talked for a few more minutes. Michael babbled excitedly about baby names and nursery colors and all the things he wanted to buy. He was already planning, already dreaming, and I was already dying inside. After we hung up, I sat in my living room and cried. Cried for my son who had no idea. Cried for the grandchild who might not be his. Cried for myself, trapped in this impossible situation. I needed advice, needed to talk to someone. But who? This wasn't the kind of thing you could discuss with just anyone. I thought about calling my sister. But she lived 3 states away and had never liked Amanda anyway. She'd just tell me to expose her immediately. I thought about talking to my pastor. But this felt too complicated for religious guidance. Finally, I decided I needed legal advice. Needed to know what my options were. What Michael's options were. I called a family law attorney the next morning. Made an appointment for that afternoon. Told them it was urgent. The attorney's name was Rebecca Walsh. She was in her 50s. Professional. Kind. She listened to the whole story without interrupting. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair. Mrs. Morrison, this is a difficult situation, but I need to be frank with you. You don't have many good options here. What do you mean? If you tell your son now, you're right that his wife might leave and take the baby. Once the baby is born, your son could pursue custody. But if he's not the biological father, he has no legal standing. The biological father is deceased, but that doesn't automatically give your son rights. So I should just let him live a lie? I'm not saying that. I'm saying you need to think strategically. If you want your son to have a relationship with this child, you might need to wait. Wait for what? Wait for the baby to be born. Then quietly arrange for a paternity test. If the baby is your son's, then you can decide whether to tell him about the affair. If the baby isn't his, then you absolutely need to tell him so he can make informed decisions. But by then, he'll have bonded with the baby. It'll be even worse. Perhaps, but at least he'll know the truth. And he'll have legal options. Right now, everything is speculation. You don't actually know whose baby it is. She was right. I didn't know for certain. What if I tell him now? What are the risks? Beyond what you've already identified? If he confronts his wife and she leaves, your son will be emotionally devastated. He may blame you for destroying his marriage and his chance at fatherhood. Your relationship with him could be permanently damaged, and you'll have no access to the child. And if I don't tell him? He continues living with a woman who's been unfaithful, who may be carrying another man's child, who manipulated him into having a baby. But you maintain access to your grandchild regardless of paternity, and you keep your relationship with your son intact. Those are terrible options. Yes, they are. I'm sorry. I left that office feeling worse than when I'd entered. There was no right answer, no good solution. Over the next few weeks, I watched Michael and Amanda prepare for the baby, watched him rub her stomach and talk to the baby, watched him buy tiny clothes and stuffed animals, watched him glow with happiness. And I said nothing. Amanda avoided me as much as possible. When we did see each other at family dinners or events, she was coldly polite, never left me alone with Michael, always stayed close, always watching. She knew I was a threat, knew I could destroy everything with one conversation. I started having nightmares, dreams where I told Michael and he hated me, dreams where Amanda disappeared with the baby, dreams where the baby was born and looked exactly like David Chen. I lost weight, couldn't sleep, couldn't focus at work. My coworkers asked if I was okay. I lied and said I was fine. The first ultrasound came. Michael sent me a picture, a tiny blob on a screen that barely looked human. Your grandchild, he'd written. Can't believe this is real. I stared at that picture for hours. Was this my biological grandchild? Or a stranger's child that my son was being tricked into raising? 12 weeks, 16 weeks, 20 weeks. The pregnancy progressed. Amanda's belly grew. Michael's excitement grew, and my guilt and stress grew. I made a decision around week 20. I couldn't tell Michael now. It was too late. He was too invested, too happy, too in love with the idea of being a father. I would wait until the baby was born. Then I would secretly arrange a paternity test. If the baby was Michael's, I'd take the secret to my grave. Amanda had ended the affair. David was dead. Maybe they could move forward. But if the baby wasn't Michael's, I would tell him everything. Give him the choice. Let him decide what to do with the information. It wasn't a perfect plan, but it was the only one I could live with. 24 weeks. 28 weeks. 30 weeks. Then something happened that changed everything again. I was at their house helping set up the nursery. Michael was at work. It was just me and Amanda. We'd barely spoken in months beyond surface pleasantries. We were putting together a crib, following the instructions, working in uncomfortable silence. Amanda suddenly stopped, put down the screwdriver she was holding. Linda, I need to tell you something. I looked at her. What? I went to the doctor yesterday for my 30-week checkup. Okay. They did an ultrasound, and the baby is small, smaller than expected for 30 weeks. What does that mean? They think I might have my dates wrong, that I might not be as far along as we thought. My heart started pounding. How far along are you? They think maybe 26 or 27 weeks, not 30. I did the math in my head. If she was only 26 weeks pregnant, that meant conception was late September, not late July, which meant the baby couldn't be David's. He'd died in June. The baby had to be Michael's. Are you sure? I asked. The doctor seemed pretty certain. They're going to do another ultrasound next week to confirm. But if they're right, it means my period was irregular or I miscalculated or something. She looked at me. It means the baby is definitely Michael's. I felt a wave of relief wash over me. If the baby was definitely Michael's, then the paternity question was answered. One less thing to worry about. But Amanda was still a cheater, still a liar, still a manipulator. Does Michael know about the date change? Not yet. I'll tell him after the next ultrasound confirms it. We went back to assembling the crib in silence. A few days later, Michael called me, confused. Mom, Amanda just told me her dates were off. The baby's due later than we thought. Like a month later. I know, she told me. It's weird, right? How do you get your dates that wrong? Periods can be irregular. It happens. I guess. I just feel like we've been preparing for an April baby and now it might be May. It's just a few weeks, sweetheart. Everything will be fine. But I knew it wasn't fine. Nothing was fine. That night I took out the red box again, looked through the photos, read through the messages, reminded myself of everything Amanda had done. Just because the baby was Michael's didn't mean Amanda deserved to get away with everything. She'd still betrayed him, still lied, still manipulated. But would telling him now accomplish anything? The affair was over. David was dead. The baby was definitely Michael's. Would exposing everything just cause unnecessary pain? I wrestled with that question every single day. 32 weeks? 34 weeks? 36 weeks? The baby could come any time now, and I still hadn't decided what to do. Then, one Saturday morning in early May, I got a call from Michael. Mom, it's time. Amanda's in labor. We're heading to the hospital. Can you meet us there? Of course. I'll be right there. I drove to the hospital with the red box in my trunk. I'd taken to carrying it everywhere. A constant reminder of the decision I still had to make. Michael was in the waiting room when I arrived, pacing, nervous, excited. They just took her back, checked her cervix. She's at 5 centimeters. Doctor says it could be a few more hours. How's she doing? Good. Nervous. In pain, but handling it. I can't believe this is really happening. I hugged my son. You're going to be an amazing father. And he would be. That's what made this whole situation so heartbreaking. Michael would be a wonderful dad. He deserved to be a father to his own biological child, which, thankfully, this baby was. But he also deserved to know the truth about his wife. Hours passed. 6 centimeters. 7. 8. Around dinner time, Michael came out looking shaken. What's wrong? I stood up immediately. Amanda's asking for you. For me? Yeah. She wants to talk to you. Alone. That was strange. Very strange. We'd barely spoken in months. Why would she want to talk to me now of all times? I followed a nurse back to the labor and delivery room. Amanda was in bed, hooked up to monitors, breathing through contractions, hair matted with sweat. Linda. She reached out her hand. I took it. Couldn't help myself. I need to tell you something. Before the baby comes, I need you to know. Know what? I'm sorry. For everything. For the affair. For lying. For threatening you. For all of it. I didn't know what to say. I was selfish and stupid and cruel. And you had every right to tell Michael. You still have every right. But I'm asking you, begging you, please don't. Not today. Not when our baby is about to be born. Amanda. It was a Tuesday afternoon, 3 weeks after Jackson was born. I was at home doing laundry when the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. Michael and Amanda had been holed up at their house adjusting to life with a newborn. My friends knew to call first. I wasn't expecting any deliveries. I opened the door. And there she was. The woman from the restaurant. The one who'd given me the red box. She looked different, cleaner, hair brushed, wearing actual makeup, a nice blouse and jeans. but I recognized her immediately. "You," I said. "Hello, Mrs. Morrison. May I come in?" Every instinct told me to slam the door, to call the police, to tell her to leave, but I needed answers, needed to understand why she'd done this, why she'd given me that box, why she'd blown up my life. "Who are you?" "My name is Catherine Chen. I'm David's sister." David, the man Amanda had been sleeping with, the man who died in a car accident. "What do you want?" "To talk. Please, just 5 minutes. Then I'll leave and never bother you again." Against my better judgment, I stepped aside and let her in. She sat on my couch. The same couch where I'd opened the red box, where I'd seen the photos for the first time, where my life had fallen apart. "Why are you here?" I asked, remaining standing. Catherine folded her hands in her lap. "I came to apologize." "Apologize? For what? For telling me the truth about my daughter-in-law? For the way I told you? For ambushing you like that? For putting you in an impossible position?" I sat down across from her. "Why did you do it? Why give me that box?" She looked at me with tired eyes. "Because I was angry. Because my brother was dead. Because I found all that evidence of his affair and I was furious. Furious at him for being a cheater. Furious at Amanda for being married and doing this anyway. Furious at the whole situation." "So you decided to destroy their marriage?" "Yes. I wanted her to pay. I wanted her to lose everything like my brother lost everything. It wasn't rational. It wasn't kind. But I was grieving and angry, and I wanted someone to hurt as much as I was hurting." I understood that feeling, more than she knew. "How did you find us at the restaurant?" I'd been following Amanda for weeks, trying to figure out the right moment to expose her. When I saw her with your son and you that night, I thought it was perfect. Give the evidence to the mother-in-law. Let her handle it. Let her be the one to blow everything up. That's sick. I know it is. And I'm sorry. I thought I was doing the right thing. Thought your son deserved to know. But I didn't think about the consequences. Didn't think about what it would do to you. The position it would put you in. Why are you here now?" Catherine took a deep breath. "Because I found something else. Something I didn't know when I gave you that box. Something important." My stomach dropped. "What?" She pulled an envelope from her purse, handed it to me. This was in David's safe deposit box. I didn't get access to it until last week. His lawyer had the key, but there was a delay in probate. I opened the envelope with shaking hands. Inside was a letter, handwritten, addressed to Amanda. I read it out loud. "Amanda, if you're reading this, something has happened to me. I need you to know the truth. The truth I couldn't tell you while I was alive. I'm married. I've been married for 7 years. I have 2 daughters, ages 5 and 3. You asked me 1,000 times why we couldn't be together publicly, why we had to hide. I told you it was complicated. The truth is, I was living a double life. I loved you. I really did. But I also loved my family. I know that doesn't make sense. I know it makes me a terrible person. But it's the truth. I was never going to leave my wife. I was never going to leave my daughters. I strung you along for 2 years because I was selfish. Because I wanted both lives. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You deserved better. You deserved someone who could actually be with you. I hope you find that with Michael. I hope you can love him the way you loved me. Because he's a good man. And you're a good woman. And you both deserve happiness. I'm sorry I couldn't give that to you. David. I read it twice, trying to process. David had been married, with children. He'd been cheating on his wife with Amanda, and Amanda had no idea. Amanda didn't know, I said quietly. No, she had no idea. David told her he was single. that they couldn't be public because of work complications or family issues or something. But really, he was married, living a completely separate life. I felt something shift inside me, something I didn't expect. Sympathy for Amanda. She'd been lied to, manipulated, used. She'd thought she was in a real relationship, thought David loved her and wanted to be with her. But he'd been using her, keeping her as a secret while he went home to his actual family every night. "Why are you showing me this?" I asked. "Because it changes things, doesn't it? Amanda did something wrong. She cheated on your son. That's not okay. But she was also being lied to, being manipulated. She thought she was in love with a single man who loved her back. She didn't know she was the other woman. That doesn't excuse what she did. No, it doesn't. But it provides context. It makes her more human, more sympathetic, less of a villain." Catherine stood up. "I came here to give you this because I felt guilty. I destroyed Amanda's life without knowing the full story. I gave you information that was true but incomplete, and I wanted you to have the complete picture before you made any decisions." "What decisions?" "I already made my decision. I didn't tell Michael. The baby is his. The affair is over. I let it go." "Did you? Or are you still carrying that box around? Still looking at those photos? Still wondering if you made the right choice?" I didn't answer, because she was right. I hadn't let it go. Not really. "Mrs. Morrison, I can't tell you what to do. But I can tell you this. My brother was a liar and a cheat. He hurt multiple people, his wife, his daughters, Amanda. Your son, indirectly. He was selfish and wrong. But Amanda? Amanda made a mistake. A big, terrible mistake. But she was also a victim in this. And maybe that's worth considering." Catherine walked to the door, opened it, turned back to look at me one more time. "I'm sorry for what I did. Truly. I hope you and your family can find peace." Then she was gone. I sat there holding David's letter, reading it over and over. Amanda hadn't known. She'd thought she was in a real relationship, thought David was single and available, thought they had a future together. She'd been wrong. Horribly wrong. But she'd been deceived. Did that change things? Did that make what she did to Michael less awful? I didn't know. Couldn't think straight. I needed to talk to someone. Needed perspective. I called the only person I trusted to be honest with me, my older sister, Patricia. Patricia lived in Oregon. We talked on the phone every week but hadn't seen each other in person in almost a year. She was blunt. No nonsense. Would tell me exactly what she thought whether I wanted to hear it or not. "Linda, what's wrong? You sound terrible." I told her everything. The restaurant, the red box, the affair, the pregnancy, Amanda's threats, my decision to stay silent, Catherine showing up, David's letter, all of it. Everything I'd been carrying alone for months. When I finished, Patricia was quiet for a long moment. "Linda, what do you want to happen?" "What do you mean?" "I mean, forget about what's right or wrong or fair. What do you actually want? Do you want Michael and Amanda to stay together? Do you want them to divorce? Do you want Amanda punished? What do you want?" I thought about it. Really thought about it. I want my son to be happy. And is he happy now? I thought about Michael over the past few weeks, exhausted from sleepless nights with Jackson, but glowing, radiant, more fulfilled than I'd ever seen him. Yes, he's happy. Then there's your answer. But he's happy based on lies. Maybe. But telling him the truth won't make him happier. It'll devastate him. You know that. And for what? The affair is over. The other man is dead. The baby is his. What would be accomplished by telling him now besides hurting him? He deserves to know the truth. Does he? Or do you think he deserves to know the truth because you think Amanda deserves to be punished? That hit hard. because Patricia was right. Part of me wanted to tell Michael because I wanted Amanda to face consequences. Wanted her to lose what she'd risked losing. Linda, I'm going to say something you won't like, but you need to hear it. This isn't your marriage. This isn't your secret to tell or keep. This is between Michael and Amanda. But I have information that affects their marriage. Information that Amanda's affair partner's sister gave you by stalking Amanda and ambushing you at a restaurant. Information that was incomplete and designed to cause maximum damage. Information that you weren't supposed to have in the first place. Are you saying I should just forget about it? I'm saying you need to decide if you're keeping this secret to protect Michael or to control him, because there's a difference. I felt tears start. I'm trying to protect him. I know you are, but Linda, you can't protect him from everything. At some point, you have to let him live his own life, make his own choices, even if those choices might hurt him. What would you do if you were me? Patricia sighed. Honestly, I'd probably struggle with the same things you're struggling with. But at the end of the day, I'd ask myself one question. Will telling him make his life better or worse? Worse. Definitely worse. Then you have your answer. We talked for another hour. Patricia helped me process everything. Helped me see that my anger at Amanda was clouding my judgment. That my desire to protect Michael was turning into a desire to control his life. After we hung up, I made a decision. I was going to let it go. Really let it go this time. Amanda had made terrible choices, but she'd also been victimized, lied to, used. Michael was happy. Jackson was healthy. They were a family, and I was going to let them be a family without my interference. I took the red box out to my garage, put it in a plastic storage container, sealed it, wrote 2024, personal on the label, put it on a high shelf behind old Christmas decorations, out of sight, out of mind. Or so I hoped. The next few months were good, better than good. Michael was an incredible father, patient, loving, involved. He did night feedings, changed diapers, rocked Jackson to sleep. Amanda seemed different too. Softer, more genuine, less performed. Motherhood had changed her. Or maybe guilt had changed her. I started spending more time with them. Helping with Jackson, being a grandmother, building a relationship with my daughter-in-law that was based on something real instead of suspicion and resentment. We never talked about the affair, never acknowledged it. It was buried, hidden, a secret between us. But it was always there, underneath everything, every conversation, every family dinner, every moment. I learned to live with it, learned to smile and laugh and act normal while carrying this knowledge. It wasn't easy, but it was manageable, until Jackson's 6-month checkup. Michael called me from the pediatrician's office. His voice was strange, tight. "Mom, can you come to the doctor's office? We're at Dr. Reynolds' office on 5th Street. What's wrong? Is Jackson okay? Just, can you come, please? I'll be right there." I drove to the pediatrician's office with my heart pounding. Something was wrong. I could hear it in Michael's voice. I found them in an exam room. Jackson was in Amanda's arms, crying. Michael was standing against the wall, arms crossed. His face was pale. "What happened?" Dr. Reynolds, a kind woman in her 50s, spoke up. "We were doing Jackson's routine checkup. Everything was fine. Growth is good. Development is on track. But when I was checking his medical history and family history, I noticed something concerning." "What?" She pulled out a chart. Both Michael and Amanda listed their blood types in their medical histories. Michael is O positive. Amanda is A positive. But Jackson's blood type came back as AB positive. I felt the floor drop out from under me. What does that mean? It means there's a genetic impossibility. A child with O positive and A positive parents can only have blood types O or A. They cannot have AB. It's genetically impossible. Michael's voice was barely a whisper. So what are you saying? I'm saying either there was a mistake in the blood typing which we should retest immediately, or there's a question of paternity. The room went silent. Amanda had gone white as a sheet. She was staring at Jackson like she'd never seen him before. Michael looked at her. Amanda, what is this? What's going on? She couldn't speak, couldn't move. Dr. Reynolds looked uncomfortable. I think I should give you all some privacy. I'll be outside if you need me. She left, closed the door behind her. Michael turned to Amanda. Tell me. Right now. Tell me. Amanda was crying silently. Jackson was still fussing in her arms. I don't understand. The doctor said the dates were wrong. The baby was conceived in September. David died in June. It should be impossible. My brain was racing. The dates. The ultrasound that said Amanda was less far along than she thought. But what if that ultrasound was wrong? What if Amanda had been right the first time? Who the hell is David? Michael's voice was rising. Amanda looked at me, pleading with her eyes, begging me not to say anything. But I couldn't protect her anymore. Not from this. Not when Michael's entire life was being called into question. Michael, I said quietly, there's something you need to know. Mom, what are you talking about? Amanda had an affair, for 2 years, with a man named David Chen. He died in a car accident in June. Michael looked like I'd slapped him. What? That can't be. He looked at Amanda. Tell her she's lying. Tell me she's wrong. Amanda was sobbing now. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, it's true. I had an affair. But Michael, I swear, I thought it was over. I thought the baby was yours. The doctor said the dates were wrong. I thought... You thought? Michael's voice was a roar now. You had an affair for 2 years and you thought? Jackson started crying harder. Amanda tried to calm him, but her hands were shaking too much. Michael looked at me. How long have you known? Since November. A woman gave me a box. David's sister. She gave me proof, photos, videos, messages, all of it. November. You've known since November and you didn't tell me? I wanted to. I tried to. But Amanda was pregnant and she threatened to leave and take the baby, and I thought if the baby was yours, maybe it didn't matter. Maybe you could move past it. Move past it? She cheated on me for 2 years. She might be passing off another man's baby as mine, and you thought I could just move past it? Michael, please, Amanda tried. Don't say my name. Don't say anything. He looked at Jackson, at the baby he'd thought was his son. Is he even mine? I don't know, Amanda whispered. I don't know. I thought he was. I really thought he was. Michael stumbled backward, sat down hard in the chair, put his head in his hands. I need a paternity test. Now, today. Dr. Reynolds knocked and came back in. I can arrange that. We can have results in a few days. But given the circumstances, I'd recommend... Do it. Do whatever you need to do. I need to know if that's my son. The next few days were hell. Pure hell. Michael moved out of the house, stayed with a friend, wouldn't answer Amanda's calls, would barely speak to me. I'd never seen my son so broken, so betrayed, so lost. Amanda called me constantly, begging, pleading, saying she was sorry, saying she loved Michael, saying she never meant for any of this to happen. I didn't know what to say to her, didn't know if I should comfort her or blame her. She was a victim of David's lies, but she was also a perpetrator of lies herself. The paternity test results came back on a Friday. Dr. Reynolds called Michael, asked him to come to her office. He called me and asked me to come with him. He needed support. We sat in her office, same room where this nightmare had started. Dr. Reynolds opened the file. The results are conclusive. David Chen is Jackson's biological father. Michael's face crumpled. He started crying, deep, gut-wrenching sobs. I held my son while he fell apart, while his world shattered, while everything he'd believed about his life turned out to be a lie. "He's not mine," Michael kept saying. "He's not my son. He's not mine." "I'm so sorry," Dr. Reynolds said quietly. "I know this isn't the result you wanted. What do I do now?" Michael looked at her. "Legally, what do I do? You'll need to speak to a family attorney, but generally speaking, if you're not the biological father, you have no legal obligation to the child. You're listed on the birth certificate, but that can be challenged and corrected. So I just walk away? From a baby I've been raising for 6 months? A baby I thought was my son? That's a decision only you can make, Michael. There's no right answer." We left the doctor's office. Michael was numb, in shock. "Mom, what do I do?" "I don't know, sweetheart. I don't know. I love him. I love Jackson. I've been his father for 6 months. I've fed him and changed him and rocked him to sleep. And now I'm supposed to just... What? Pretend he doesn't exist? You don't have to decide anything right now. But I do. Because every day I wait is another day I'm bonding with a child who isn't mine. Another day I'm living a lie." We got in the car. Michael drove aimlessly, just driving, crying, processing. "Did you see the photos?" he finally asked. "The ones David's sister gave you?" "Yes." Was it obvious that she was cheating?" "Yes. I'm sorry, it was very obvious." "And you didn't tell me because she threatened to take the baby?" "Yes." "Did you believe her? That she'd really leave?" "Yes, I did." Michael was quiet for a long time, then said, "I don't know if I can forgive you, Mom. I know you were trying to protect me. But you let me bond with a baby that wasn't mine. You let me fall in love with him. And now I have to walk away. And it's going to destroy me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I made the wrong choice." "Yeah, you did." He dropped me off at my house, drove away without saying goodbye. I went inside and cried. Cried for my son. Cried for Jackson. Cried for myself. Cried for the mess we'd all made. Amanda called me that night. "Did Michael get the results?" "Yes." Silence. Then, "It's David's, isn't it?" "Yes." More silence. Then a wail. A sound of pure anguish. "No. No, no, no. This can't be happening. How is this possible? The doctor said..." "The doctor was wrong. Or you misunderstood. Or the dates were off. I don't know. But Jackson is David's son. What do I do? Michael won't talk to me. Won't see Jackson. What do I do?" "I don't know, Amanda. I don't know how to fix this. This is all my fault. All of it. I destroyed everything. I destroyed my marriage. I destroyed Michael. I destroyed you. And for what? For a man who was lying to me the whole time?" I couldn't argue with that, because it was true. "Catherine came to see me," I said. "David's sister. She gave me a letter David wrote. He was married, with kids. He was never going to leave his family for you." I heard Amanda's breath catch. "What? You didn't know. You thought he was single. But he was married the whole time." No, that's not. He told me he was single. He said his family didn't approve of me. That's why we had to hide. He said..." She trailed off. "Realizing, understanding. He lied to you," I said. "About everything. You were the other woman and you didn't even know it." Amanda started crying harder. "I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid. I threw away everything for a man who was lying to me. And now I've lost Michael. I've lost you. And I have a baby whose father is dead and whose other father wants nothing to do with him. Michael needs time. How much time? Days? Weeks? Years? Will he ever forgive me? I don't know." We hung up. I sat in the dark of my living room and wondered how we'd gotten here, how a simple family dinner had turned into this nightmare. A week went by. Michael wouldn't talk to me. Wouldn't talk to Amanda. Was staying with his friend indefinitely. Amanda was alone with Jackson, trying to figure out how to be a single mother, how to explain to people why her husband had left, how to live with what she'd done. I wanted to help her, but I didn't know how, didn't know if I should. Then, on a Tuesday afternoon, there was a knock on my door. I opened it expecting Amazon or Jehovah's Witnesses. It was Michael, and he was holding Jackson. "Mom, can I come in?" Of course, of course." He came inside, sat on the couch. Jackson was asleep in his arms. "I've been thinking a lot this week, about everything, about Amanda, about the affair, about Jackson, about you. Michael, let me finish, please." I nodded. "You were right, about one thing. You were trying to protect me. You made the wrong choice, but your intentions were good. And I was so angry at you that I couldn't see that. But I've had time to think, to process, and I understand why you did what you did. I'm so sorry. I know, and I forgive you, because you're my mom, and I love you, and I know you'd never intentionally hurt me." I started crying. Thank you. Thank you. But Amanda? I don't know if I can forgive her. She lied to me for 2 years. She let me believe Jackson was mine. She was going to let me raise another man's child without ever telling me. She didn't know. She really thought Jackson was yours. But she knew she'd been sleeping with 2 men at the same time. She knew there was a possibility. And she never told me. Never gave me the choice. He looked down at Jackson. I've been holding him this whole time we've been talking, and he feels like my son. He still feels like my son, even though I know he's not. Michael, I don't know what to do, Mom. My brain says walk away, cut ties. This isn't your child. This isn't your responsibility. But my heart says he's mine. That biology doesn't matter, that I'm his father in every way that counts. What do you want to do? I want to raise him. I want to be his dad. But I can't do that if I'm married to Amanda. I can't look at her every day and not see the affair, not see the lies, not see the betrayal. So what are you saying? I'm saying I want a divorce, but I also want custody, or at least significant custody. I know I'm not the biological father, so legally I might not have rights. But I've been his father since birth. I've raised him, bonded with him. That has to count for something. Have you talked to a lawyer? Yes. They said it's complicated. But in Texas, if I'm on the birth certificate and I've acted as his father, I might be able to establish paternity despite the DNA. It's called paternity by estoppel. Basically, the court can decide that it's in Jackson's best interest for me to remain his legal father, even though I'm not his biological father. And Amanda? Does she know this? I'm meeting with her tomorrow to discuss everything. The divorce, custody, everything. He stood up, handed Jackson to me. Can you watch him for a bit? I need to go make some calls. Of course. He left. I sat there holding Jackson, this beautiful baby boy who'd caused so much pain without meaning to. He opened his eyes, looked up at me, smiled, and I realized something. Biology didn't matter. This was my grandson. I'd loved him from the moment he was born, and I'd continue loving him no matter what a DNA test said. Michael and Amanda's divorce was finalized 6 months later. It was complicated, messy, painful. But they worked out a custody arrangement, 50-50. Michael got Jackson half the time. Amanda got him the other half. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. Michael started dating again about a year after the divorce. Nothing serious, just testing the waters, learning to trust again. Amanda stayed single, focused on Jackson, on being a better person. She'd started therapy, was working through her issues, her patterns, why she'd made the choices she'd made. We had an awkward relationship, Amanda and I. She'd apologized dozens of times, I'd forgiven her, mostly, but there was always a distance between us now, a wound that hadn't fully healed. As for me, I learned some hard lessons. I learned that keeping secrets, even with good intentions, often causes more harm than good. I learned that you can't protect the people you love from pain. Pain is part of life, part of growth. I learned that families are complicated, messy, imperfect, and that's okay. But most importantly, I learned that love isn't about biology. It's about choice, about commitment, about showing up every day. Michael chose to be Jackson's father, not because of DNA, but because of love. And that's what mattered. 2 years after the red box entered my life, I finally threw it away. Took it out of storage, drove it to the dump, threw it in the trash compactor. I didn't need it anymore. Didn't need the photos or the messages or the evidence, because the past was the past, and we were all moving forward. Jackson turned 3 last month. We had a party at Michael's house. Superheroes theme. Jackson wore a Spider-Man costume and ran around the yard with his little friends. Amanda was there. Michael was there. Michael's new girlfriend was there. We all sang happy birthday. All smiled for pictures. All pretended this was a normal, functional family. And you know what? Maybe it was. Maybe this was as normal as families get. Complicated, imperfect, but full of love. That night, after everyone had left and I was driving home, I thought about that woman at the restaurant. Catherine Chen, David's sister. She'd given me that red box thinking she was exposing a liar, thinking she was helping my son. But really, she'd started a chain reaction that nearly destroyed us all. And yet, in a strange way, I was grateful. Because that red box forced everything into the light, forced us to face hard truths, forced us to make difficult choices. It was painful, excruciating, life-altering, but it also led us here, to this imperfect but honest place, where we all knew the truth, where we all knew exactly where we stood with each other. No more secrets, no more lies, just complicated, messy, real love. And maybe that was worth all the pain. Maybe that red box was exactly what we needed after all. If this story taught you anything about secrets, forgiveness, and the complicated nature of family, hit that like button and subscribe. And let me know in the comments what you would have done in my situation. Would you have told your son immediately, or would you have kept the secret? There's no right answer, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. See you in the next story.